Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is some pretty big news and not a lot of people are talking about it, so I thought I'd just make a quick video to bring everybody's attention to this issue. And it's yet to be seen to what extent this is actually going to affect the modding and emulation community as a whole on the internet. But you know what? It's important that we keep an eye on these things, so let's just jump right into it. The original article that I came across was from GameStop here, and it says Japan has made console modding and game save editors illegal. They're pulling information from Siliconera, and Siliconera is getting it from the ACCS directly from Japan, so it's been translated by them. And the article basically states, and I'll just go over it here, that Japan has made game save editors and console modding services illegal. The punishment for breaking this law is pretty severe too, as perpetrators are liable up to 5 million yen, and they've calculated that out as about 46,000 USD or 36,000 GPP, 5 years of prison time or both. So that's a pretty heavy hit for modders. But what exactly is this about, and who are they exactly trying to target here? The laws are part of Japan's Unfair Competition Prevention Act, which was revealed in December 2018, so this is very new. As the name of the act implies, these laws are designed to prevent someone from unfairly turning a profit off of a company's software or electronic product. So this is pretty much your basic anti-piracy. They're trying to protect their copyright, their IP. So this makes sense so far. And we'll get down to what I think this means for our general community a little bit in a moment here. However, the wording of the law allows it to extend over what were previously assumed to be harmless actions as well. This is important, such as adding new games to the NES, SNES, and PS Classic consoles via mods or using action replay. The three exact actions that people will be punished for according to Siliconera translation via the act are as follows. Distribution of game save data, editors, and programs. Distribution, selling, auctioning serial keys and product keys without the software maker's permission. Well, they're obviously not ever going to give permission for something like that, so that makes sense because, you know, that's in their eyes cutting into their profit margins directly. And number 3, services that offer the editing/hacking of save data and or modifying hacking in-game consoles. As a result, products like Action Replay and Cyber Save Editor for PS4, both popular in Japan, have been forcibly discontinued. The law also creates a firmer stance in Japan around the act of reselling digital download product keys, which has typically been a rather gray area in the games industry as a whole. Okay, so the big thing here are services, and that makes perfect sense that they're going to hit first people, specifically modders, who are turning a profit off of modding consoles. But this sounds more like it was aimed to target, like it says up here, the selling, auctioning of serial codes and product keys without the software maker's permission. I laugh at that every time. That sounds really funny to me because obviously without the software maker's permission. They're never going to get software maker's permission. And again, that makes sense that they're going to want to nail these people and get them out of the way. What I'm curious about is what the article alludes to a little higher up, the whole thing about harmless actions. So people like us who aren't making a profit off of doing things like this but do it as a hobby in the community. And this directly overlaps with emulation. So like modding and emulation, if you're gonna draw a Venn diagram, those two circles would pretty much almost be overlapping, I think. So again, the NES, the SNES Classic, the PS Classic consoles, as we all know, they're basically little emulation boxes wrapped in a nice little nostalgia plastic container that looks like our favorite classic consoles. So it's emulation right there, and people have been modding them so that they can emulate extra ROMs. And again, as we know, Nintendo has been hitting really hard last year in 2018 and shut down some notable ROM websites that have been around for a really long time. The whole topic of, game preservation and whether those ROM websites should be allowed to exist, that's a topic for another time, which I will definitely dive into because I have a lot to say on that. But as far as this goes specifically, what I'm curious about is the distribution. When they say distribution, are they leaving this intentionally vague so that they can hit these people who are making direct profit modding consoles and selling product keys and serial codes at a significant discount because they're pirated essentially? Or is this vagueness going to be used to start to target the online community? And my guess is that, judging by how hard the industry has been hitting distribution websites for ROMs, they're probably going to start to tackle as their next objective, GitHub repositories and things like that, because it's the open source communities making tools that are essentially fueling these modders to begin with. So if you get rid of the tools, it makes it hell of a lot more difficult for these people to turn a profit doing what they're doing, modding consoles. So it's a really interesting thing that's happening right now, and I'm going to be following this all through 2019 just as I've been following it through 2018 previously, and we'll see exactly where it's going. I think 2019 we're going to see a bunch more hits happening across the net, and in one way or another, like, this affects our community of modders and people that are into emulation of all consoles. Yeah, and I mean, it was only a few weeks ago that this came up too. The UK police arrest man over Nintendo Switch modding. I'm not sure the details of this, if he was selling services, but the way that the police in the UK framed this whole thing was under protecting the privacy of regular citizens. How did they phrase it? If you're looking to buy a Nintendo console as a Christmas gift, make sure you know who you're buying from. That's good advice anyways, because you don't know if you're buying something and somebody's modded it, if there's something on there that's going to grab personal data, your anything that you might put into it, it could be filtered and sent to somebody else over the network. Otherwise, you could get more than you bargained for, this detective Constable Daryl Fryatt says. If you buy a gaming console that gives illegal access to pirated content, you could be exposed to malware and identity crime. Like, that makes sense. So they're making it look like this is to protect regular consumers. But that argument has always come up as a bunk one to me. I don't know what your opinions are on this. Let me know down in the comments below. I'm sure there are perspectives on this that I haven't even thought of. So please let me know down in the comments. This is a little bit of a tangent here, but that said, Nintendo itself is also taking action against quote-unquote modders. Earlier this month, the company filed a lawsuit against alleged sellers of modded consoles and pirated games in the US. This case remains pending. So Nintendo's on it. Nintendo, of course, is headquartered in Japan. The laws in Japan are starting to target people who, like Action Replay, who were originally making profit off of, it is modding. It's modding, live game data, RAM data. It's not exactly the same as modding a game or hacking a game, making a ROM hack, but it's all in the same vein. So Nintendo industry in Japan, the game industry in Japan, they're going after people who are doing modifications and profiting off of it primarily, but it sounds like it's open to be vague enough that individual people could start to get targeted. And I think that if we see the industry start to target the developers of modding tools that are hosted on code repository websites like GitHub, then the community actually has something to really worry about. Of course, they're never going to completely get rid of piracy. That's never going to happen. And I think that this is going to end up, 10 years time. I think this is the Napster MP3 copyright debate of the late 2010s. So we'll see where this goes. Anyways, I've rambled on long enough on this. I think it's really interesting. And right now, you don't have anything to really worry about unless you're selling and trying to make a business out of selling your services as a modder, and I'd be more concerned if you're selling, discounted product keys that you somehow obtained. I don't know how that would happen exactly. So we'll keep an eye on it. Anyways, guys, thanks again for watching. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here in 2019. Thanks for watching this video. Do you want to see more content like this? Then let me know down in the comments below. And then smash that sub button, ring the bell icon, and give me a thumbs up. You can also support my content by becoming a Patreon insider, where you'll gain behind the scenes info on upcoming emulation and modding projects. You'll also be given Patreon exclusive access to our Discord channels, and your name will appear at the end of my videos. Your support means a lot, and it really helps the channel to grow. So again, thank you so much for watching, keep your fire burning, and stay true. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.